Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, on the technology theme again. They're all going behind the screen for some reason. Panel discussion, digital revolution in the kitchen, a panel discussion on technology's role in the culinary industry. It's going to be moderated by Angela May, the culinary director of Delicia Catering Company. First, we welcome on stage Ms. Charlotte Ong, the founder of Digital Boomerang, award-winning agency. Chirstophe Megel, our old friend from Q Industries. Welcome, Chef. Michael Cadamuro from the Innovative Design Department, an expert from Electrolux Group. Welcome, Michael, or Michele. Yeah, Michele, okay. Michele, there we go, done. And last but not least, the lovely Angela May, culinary director of Delicia.
Thank you.
Depends how you pronounce it, I guess, yeah?
Delicia for me, yes.
Very good, I got it right. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Thank you all so much for joining us here this morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So we're going to have a discussion for all of you, and I have to give you a little bit of insight just before we get started that this discussion has spanned already 2 days. We have been discussing the digital revolution in the kitchen over the past 2 days and in the green room earlier before coming over here. And I think that the most important thing that we need to address while we're sitting in this room is what is the digital revolution in the kitchen? Because I feel that everybody has a difference of opinion for it. So Michele, let's start with you. If you give us like a few minutes on what you think the digital revolution is.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me, and thanks for this event. If I can start with a slogan, I would say digital revolution is a way to do more with less. If I can simplify what digitalization is, I would say it's really a way to make, again, more with less. And let's say to make money, if I can summarize it really easily. Yeah, that's I will start from. So.
That's a very succinct starting point to make money. Okay.
To make money and to make the world easier, let's say. Let's start from this.
Okay. Okay, Chirstophe, over to you.
Good morning, World Chef Congress. It's a great pleasure to be here this morning. I think it's going to be an interesting topic. To me, I see several different topics within digitalization. I see the technology part, I see the digital part, and I see the AI part. And I think these three have not yet come together, in my opinion. Now, if you go back and you look at what the meaning of digitalization is all about, it's about transforming a process or a system by using a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone, using the internet or the Wi-Fi. That is the definition of digitalization. And I think in many aspects in the kitchen, that hasn't reached the chefs yet in totality. I think it has transformed the food and beverage industry, and especially at the front. And some profound examples is ordering platforms, ordering delivery companies has changed again tremendously. But within the kitchen, we have yet to discover what digitalization is going to do for us. So that's my stand.
Yes, exactly.
And I will share later on my own journey on digitalizing the procurement in the kitchen, which I have embarked with Q Industry 3 years ago. And that was a very, very challenging journey, and especially from an adoption point of view.
Yes, indeed.
Because I think today there is still a lot of resistance on adopting digitalization because we are a bit scared of it. And the pushback is always to define it as very complicated, when it's supposed to make life easier, correct? So what are you doing?
Correct.
Okay, Michele, we'll have a moment with you to be able to defend
Sure.
what you're
Sure.
doing and how you're
will.
taking control of this to Chirstophe in a moment. But of course, now everybody does have such diverse backgrounds that's on this stage right here. Now, Charlotte, you have the most diverse from the three of us that are over here. You're really coming from a technology background. Can you give us a little bit of insight about what you believe the digital revolution is for the kitchen?
Yeah, so it's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I was very surprised actually to be here. And looking at all the white coats in this room, it's nothing short of amazing. So thank you very much. And also, I just wanted to call out some old friends like Kwan from At Sunrise over there and Jenny from Food Court for getting me to be here and kind of like push myself out of the comfort zone. So some things I'm about to say you may not really feel, it's very sensitive to what chefs are thinking and feeling, but I hope to bring a different perspective, a technology perspective. So the question is, what is digitalization? I agree with Chirstophe, is some form of transformation. I agree with him, it's probably not reached every industry, especially the culinary industry, which I really have grown to love over the last 20 years. I think Chirstophe will know that. And I think part of it is because it's not user-centered. It's been user-centered on everybody else, the customer, sales, marketing. But where are the chefs in all this, you know? If you want technology to be adopted by the chefs, should you be able to shout at your oven, you know? Demand that it do better? Demand that it help you be more creative? And I think when Gen AI came along, you know, this was the turning point. This is the point where you can talk to your oven. You can kick it and say, hey, dude, you're not getting me, you know? I've done everything right according to the recipe, but somehow the heat is just not right. Is it you or is it me, you know? So I think that, to dovetail what Chirstophe has said, he's been on this incredible journey doing his own transformation on procurement. And now he's sitting here, he could be a chef collaborating with Michele over there, right, who is actually developing these products and actually bring the transformative nature of technology into the kitchen.
I would say, if I can build on what you're saying, the digitalization is coming in the right moment because the society is rapidly evolving. We are living conflict, immigration, pandemic. There are many things are happening, and digitalization is fortunately arriving in the right moment. I would like to tell you this story. I'm designing product for commercial kitchens from 25 years, and 20 years ago, actually, we worked with some of the most important universities in Europe, asking for visionary thinking of the commercial kitchen in the future. And it was in 2005, so more or less 20 years ago. And we asked, what will be the future technology? What can happen in the future? And actually, I'm living now the future. And I can tell you that the mistake we did, and many of the ideas we had didn't come true. We thought about new technology for cooking. We thought about a new shape, a new layout for the kitchen. Nothing happened. The kitchen is basically the same of 20 years ago. And the technology, let's say, has improved, but not that much. But what really changed the life is, honestly, in my experience, the digitalization. So I would say the digitalization is the biggest technology, let's say, from what I've seen of the last 20, 30, this is really a revolution. I'm strongly convinced. And then we can talk about robotization, automation, AI, whatever. But really, what I lived in my experience is really the very first impressive transformation. I don't know, what do you think?
And I think it's just the beginning, and I think it's also a generational gap issue, unfortunately. So don't get me wrong, okay? I'm also 56, okay? But I think there is still a misunderstanding of what digitalization can really do for people on the ground. And when I share my journey with what we have done at Q Industries by transforming the entire procurement journey for the chefs in the kitchen, we basically build up a platform on cloud, online, people can access from their telephone, and they're literally interacting with our own ERP system back, and they're literally packing their goods from our warehouse off the bay from their stock. So basically, when they place an order, they do not have the bad news the next day telling them there is no stock. Every time they pick and pack, it's packed, and it will be delivered. So these are some of the very subtle, efficient, productive tools digitalization can provide to the chefs today. And of course, the next level, which you, Charlotte, brought all about, which is the interface or AI. And we realized then the chefs had the digital platform. And what do? They send a WhatsApp to our salespeople with a broken English telling them they want some paper roll, 200 and we have about 20 different types of that paper roll. Then we had to develop a chatbot to be able to translate this broken English into a real order to send it back to them to confirm yes or no. So all of that is being digitalized. And I think moving forward, we have no choice. That's going to be the future, because we're going to have lesser and lesser employees, you know. Productivity and efficiency is a must. And I truly believe in the future of procurement. If I would be in that department, I would be extremely worried about my job. The same if today I'm an accountant, I would be worried about my job.
Chirstophe, can we touch on that for just a second there? Because you said there was a lot of pushback, and it was generational pushback, that people weren't adopting to the technology fast enough and didn't know what they were supposed to use it for. So can you expound on how that's changed? And was there a learning curve that you just had to push through? Did you send out more information? And how did you get through that point?
I think the biggest hurdle we had to overcome is to make people understand the change of habits. We are all creatures of habits. We all like to do the same thing over and over because we are very comfortable. And it's okay, I'm the same. I wake up in the morning, I need my coffee. Don't bring me a tea. It's a habit, that's how I function. So if suddenly now you ask me to drink green tea, I'm gonna have a problem. And I think in the kitchen, that's gonna just get worse, okay? So I think it's the change of habit to explain to people and say, look, it's not difficult, it's not painful, let me show you, let me teach you how it's done, and experience the journey on how it's gonna transform your procurement process. And tomorrow morning, you're gonna come into your kitchen and your order is gonna be sitting on your counter, full and complete, with one DO, one invoice, no more to deal with 5, 6, 7 suppliers. It's all taken care of. Imagine the time you can spend doing something else.
This is almost like an Amazon for procurement for kitchens, meaning you look at the item, you know it's in stock,
absolutely,
put in your order and it arrives.
Absolutely. So imagine if all of these problems are taken away from you, what else can you do? How many other recipes can you develop? Spend your time where you're supposed to spend it. Let digitalization take over the rest. All the waste of time. Like what Michele said, you know, it's here to make it a better world, and it will. And I'm sure when Charlotte's gonna have done her piece, where we're gonna be able to shout at the oven and questioning why he messed up this entire meal and give us an intelligent response, it will transform the entire culinary world once again, and that will happen.
And blame shifting for sure.
and that will happen.
And I agree with Charlotte when you say it's a problem of human interaction, let's say. Because, let's say, when, I give you some example. For restaurant, for example, for the fleet management, when you explain that you can upload a software easily remotely from your office, for example, you don't have to send out technicians. And actually, I'm thinking also about sustainability, because digitalization goes end-to-end with sustainability. I'm thinking about technicians driving in a highway or taking the time to upload and to change the software. So the possibility, for example, to remotely update the software is a practical example of what digitalization can do. And another reflection is, let's say, today we are living in a moment where technology goes at a higher speed than what the people need or understand to need. So that's really, really interesting. So we should ask not today what could be done with technology, but what should be done. That's the problem in my experience. So understanding, as said, today, basically, correct me if I'm wrong, you can do basically everything in the kitchen. You can automatize, you can put robots, you can put voice control, you can do everything. Let me say everything. The problem is that it doesn't happen, because otherwise all kitchens should be automatic, or that doesn't happen. Because the problem is really understanding case by case with a granular thinking, what do we really need, what you really need, what you really need. So that's the problem. So, yeah. Please.
I think for myself, I'm coming from the other sectors. We see this pushback everywhere. I think one of the sweet spots which you really need to tap is using technology with the young people. What technology today, generative AI, together with all the machine learning before and all the application development before, is really enabling you to skill up your workforce really fast. Because as the older person who's not into technology, you will now be able to say, oh, you have a question? Okay, when I'm not here, go chat with this chatbot that I made, you know. I put in my knowledge inside here.
Ask Iowa about the pizza.
Yeah, or imagine if you don't even have the time to put in all your knowledge, you know, about your hotel or your cuisine or your recipes into the chatbot. You know, you could maybe engage a culinary school. I mean, so you could go to Kwan and say, hey, Kwan, I want at sunrise in my pocket, you know, so that when my young chefs have a question, they can immediately get simple answers from this chatbot or from this conversational AI and say like, hey, what's up with my eggs, you know? Why is it not separating, you know? Is it a freshness issue? You know, am I supposed to refrigerate it, you know? Simple questions like that. And in fact, I think just 3 weeks ago, Wharton shared their results from all their studies on the deployment of AI, and they found that actually one of the most successful use cases was skilling up workers who were inexperienced, young, and especially in the emerging economies around Asia. So I think that's another sweet spot that you can look at that really leverages the older, knowledgeable worker and pairs it well with the younger worker.
So what you're saying is basically you can hire less skilled younger people for less money, and they're going to skill up much faster using AI and the new technology because then they have more available to them. Whereas other generations had to work for 20 years to gain a huge tool bag of knowledge in order to get where they are today. So we're dinosaurs and we're all going to be surpassed.
No, I don't think they will surpass you. I think the chefs can weigh in. But I think what happens is that your pipeline of new talent coming in is really a lot smaller than it used to be. So to be able to get the people who want to be in the profession to skill up very quickly and not feel lost, it's very, I think, heartening for the younger generation. Even my own workers, they feel the same way. Everything's so complicated now in Singapore. They ask me, hey, Charlotte, can we do this? Charlotte, I say, oh, no, there's this policy that doesn't allow that. There's this policy that doesn't. And when I'm not there, they feel so lost because they can't get the answers. But now, because we are able to put all this knowledge into our own kind of private knowledge model, and they can just query that and ask and actually get the instant answers, the retention rate has been much, much better.
But I think also what we could bring back to the Congress is perhaps maybe you can think about in the next couple of hours, the next couple of days. What is it you can digitalize in your own operation? What is it you would like the technology to do for you? I mean, in a meaningful manner, you know, don't dream with no results. And I'm sure you will find a lot of problem statements in your operation which digitalization could easily solve. I think some of you heard me speak in the last Congress about hygiene and sanitation to technology. Today, there is technologies available out there that will sterilize your kitchen 24/7 without you having to worry about anything. And you know, there's plenty of these solutions available. But of course, it sounds scary because they are digital, so you can't really feel them, you can't really see them, but they can do the job for you. So there's a lot of these solutions available out there, you know. And I'm sure, even for you, Michele, I'm sure it's imminent where some of these ideas about your combi steamer oven interacting with an app on the mobile phone.
Absolutely.
It's just weeks, months away.
You stimulate me with some examples.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you all have... No, for me, it's great to be here because I talk quite a lot with chefs, with operators, and having you in front of me is wonderful. So I would like to talk with each of you. Anyway, some practical example: the possibility with the blast chiller, talking with the oven, for example, preheating the oven, so you don't have to remember or remind your operator to switch on the oven for preheating, or so the digitalization has 3 steps, let's say, in my experience. The capability to talk with the machine, the capability that the machine talk each other, for example, cook and chill, and the chiller and the oven, and the capability of the machine talking with the humans. So I see that those 3 levels. But give you other example. You mentioned the training is absolutely true. And we interviewing people, we discovered, we know this problem, that people sometimes feel afraid in front of too many opportunities. That's why digital or AI can help. Another important topic is the downtime. I know that everybody is so important topic. The capability to prevent the downtime, that's another possibility of the connectivity and this technology. That's really key, because if you prevent what can happen, of course you can avoid or reduce the downtime. That's really key. This is something that people buy immediately.
I think the earlier you adopt digitalization in your operation, and the better off you are. The more you push it back, it's just going to be a neck breaker, because it's not a negotiable item anymore.
But I have a question that follows up on this. We were speaking earlier about technology in the kitchen and how it's underutilized because there is so much pushback on it. Maybe people don't understand it yet, maybe it's not user-friendly, but if only 20% is being used of what's available to them, so for example, whatever it is that you're designing and what you're building, if people are only using 20% of it, how can we learn and how can we figure out ways to harness more of that? It's already there for us. Why are we not using it? How can we figure these things out?
Perhaps maybe one answer to that is, I mean, being a chef myself, we are people which are extremely passionate about our craft. We spend years mastering it, and having a machine taking over suddenly is not a show of respect, I would say. You know, we're like,
not
wow.
a show of respect for the white jacket.
It took me so long to master this, and this thing is going to do it just like that. So that's a bit hard to swallow, I suppose, okay? But that's my personal opinion, okay? But having said that, the machine and the technology today can do a lot for us and still elevate our craft, our skills, our knowledge to new levels, spend our energy in other areas, you know, while the machine is doing the very repetitive work. And I think that's where the digitalization and the technology should come in, because in the kitchen there is every day a lot of repetition. You know, we do the same thing over and over, and they're not very glamorous or very meaningful, okay? And I think technology and digitalization can take some of that over, you know, easily. And I think it has happened in bigger production centers already. That journey has started.
For sure.
Where the integration of technology, digitalization, and per se, some basic AI is already taking place. I'm pretty convinced.
Yeah. No, please.
I think for me, I would recommend everybody really spend a little bit of time mapping out your own journey at work. You know, as a chef, you know, when you come in, what are you doing? You know, is that thing something you really enjoy? Can it be automated? Can we use Gen AI to solve this problem? I think when you look at things from a journey perspective and identify your own pain points and try to use technology to basically get rid of the stuff you don't enjoy or differentiate yourself. I think that there are a lot of human-centered design methods that you can actually deploy, whether it's design thinking or some other form of user experience design. A good example of how you can use it is restaurants, right? Restaurants, you map out the entire journey. If you took the customer perspective, what do they hate the most about going to a restaurant? Queuing. Queuing to get into the restaurant. I think with human-centered design, you can look at the problem both psychologically and technologically. Hai Di Lao was one that looked at it psychologically and decided that the technology wasn't the solution. Hey, why don't we just give everybody manicure or pedicure while they're waiting in line, right? But Din Tai Fung took a different approach, right? They looked at it technologically. So if you go up to Din Tai Fung, you make a reservation, you say, hey, I want to get in. What do? They take your mobile number, you can shop, and you can come back when they text you. So same with the chefs, encourage you to really map your journey. Take a look.
this is a useful point. And so just to expound on what Charlotte's saying just a little bit, is that all of the front of house has had more of this pain and pleasure mapping, where people say like, oh, okay, because customers are coming and customers are our most important thing, what is the pain points for those customers? Where chefs are not doing the pain mapping yet. And if we could do pain mapping within our own vicinity of what's happening in the back of the house, then perhaps we can find other ways to use technology that we aren't currently using at this point of time. And so that's great that those options are also available to us. But then what about the technology that's in the equipment that we have already? How come nobody's using it to its fullest potential?
You call Michele.
So Michele, your background is really on technology and design.
Yeah.
Tell us more about, is it part of the design, is it part of the technology, or is it stubbornness?
No, it's a really good question, and really too complicated to summarize in few words. Let me do another reflection before answering. The point is not to use, to evolve seamlessly all around the world at the same speed. That's not the point. That's not the problem. My vision is that the future of the kitchen will be a scattered picture with some taking the best of the technology because they need it, robotics, automation. Some others just taking a lower level of technology simply because they don't need it. So that's I encourage people more to know what is possible to do, but not necessarily to take everything, of course. That's important to say. Don't feel anxious to say, oh my God, I need to digitalize. Let's be, as you said, let's start from the need. This is actually what we do, learning the journey, understanding, and identifying the pain point. And the technology, just to answer your question, technology is there because consider that all of your product can be connected. So today in a kitchen, you can talk with each. Let me summarize. Let me be more generic. You can talk with each of the appliances you have. If you start from that, you can start reasoning, oh my God, if I can talk with the product and the product can talk with me, I can do many things. I can control, I can monitor, I can change, I can, with AI, understand where my operations can be better. I can prevent or predict the maintenance. I can improve my efficiency. I can make money. So now, really, to make it simple, the technology is there. And what it is the technology? Basically, the connectivity, the capability to talk with the machine remotely in a digital way.
Let's just do a quick survey. Can we?
Yes, of
All right.
course.
Live. Who in this room has a big banquet operation back home? Raise your hands. Come on.
So
Only one person?
2, 3 over on this
Over here.
side. 5,
Hello,
6,
I'm talking
7.
to you. Hello, good morning. Who has a big banquet operation back home? Well, do you use regeneration today? Combi steamer regeneration. You do, correct? What did you use before? Chafing dishes, correct? Pile of plates, correct? Armies of cooks, correct? To dish out this banquet, correct? Has that regeneration changed this process? Tremendously, correct? What has changed? The quality, the consistency, the productivity, the efficiency. And does your customer today come to your kitchen and say, hey, how come you use your regeneration? No? They're happy, correct? They're happy. That's what adopting technology and digitalization is all about. It's a simple example. And it changes the world of the people around you, including yourself. And somebody has to drive it. And it's only the people in this room who can go back and drive that change, drive that evolution. Because our profession, our industry has to evolve. We cannot be stuck in our cave. It's not possible. We got to come out. We're going to have to adopt that, bring it back into our operation, and use it to the fullest. And I remember I went to the same issue like you, I'm sure. You cooks were scared when they saw this machine. They said, what is he doing, man? He's going to fire us now. No, I'm going to make your life better. And that's what this is all about. Technology and digitalization should make our lives better if it's done intelligently and properly, and it's scoped to your operation. But I'm surprised that only 1 or 2, 3 people in this room use regeneration. I strongly recommend you go and study it because it's a huge productivity piece.
And another point I think is interesting to mention is the taking care of the different stakeholders. What do I mean? One thing is the digitalization for the user, for the operators. One is for the owner, the other is for the chef. Then we have the consultant, then we have the technician, then we have the manager. So we have many stakeholders in this industry, and we have to be really precise in what we can do for this guy. For example, for a manager, having the possibility to monitor the consumption, for example, is key. That's key. But
Yes,
this is not
definitely.
important for operators, for example, because they care about making the operation quicker and faster, and maybe to give a bit of themselves. So what I ask myself to do more is to understand the human in a better way, meaning if you are operators, you have a different need than the manager, than the owner, for example. For example, I repeat, energy consumption is key. So if you can monitor the energy, and if you can discover where you waste the energy, this is basic. And now the technology with the AI can do that, can give you an understanding of where you are wasting the money and where you can drive a little bit better the operations.
So I have a slightly different view. I think it's great that you guys are so enthusiastic and there should be more of you in the industry. For myself, I have found technology to be very unuser-friendly. You know, I sometimes hate the things that, you know, my company makes. A lot of time,
That's a big statement. Let's just take a moment here that you're saying sometimes you hate technology. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlotte, continue.
It's true. I hope my team is not here. But anyway, so many times clients come to us and say, yeah, you know, digitalize the process. You know, and we find that it's, you know, we're just putting paper forms in digital format. Who wants to stay at the computer and key in this stuff all day long? And it's a pain. We take away one pain, we create another pain. And it doesn't really solve the problem. So I think why you're at a sweet spot now, or why I'm here, is because things have changed. With generative AI, you don't have to fill in the form yourself anymore. You know, you've got to understand the radical difference between the old technology and the new technology, and why it's so meaningful to guys like you. Because not only are you already in it, but you can capitalize on this radical change. With deep learning, in the past, when you write a computer program or you do technology, you're telling the oven what to do. Cook it this way. These are the steps. You know, this is a series of steps the technology has to follow through. With deep learning and AI, we say, no, I want a cake. You go figure out how to make the cake.
Can you just pause and explain to us what is deep learning?
Yeah, so deep learning is the new way of which computers learn on their own without you giving instructions. It means that intelligence is generated rather than following a recipe. This is a radical change that I think many people do not realize yet, and why it will make digitalization a lot less painful for everyone. So if in the future, if I want a course or I want to skill up my workforce, I'll just call Kwan, but it wouldn't be Kwan answering, it would be Kwan's bot. And I say, you know what, I talked to my staff today, and they just couldn't get the steak right. But I've already told my staff A, B, C, okay? And Kwan won't answer, Kwan's bot will answer, and Kwan's bot will go and say, no problem. I am then going to get another bot that will generate a curriculum and lesson plan on the spot to address exactly those gaps and send it to your staff. This is what will happen in the future. And I think chefs would embrace that, with that next leap. Maybe right now, all the things we have done is just leading to this point. But form filling, clicking buttons, it's not human-centered. It's not ergonomic. It's not what you want to do. We are bipedals. We want to run around the kitchen. I want to go with the culinary school and Chirstophe to the wet market. I want to smell the spices. I want to taste everything. I'm a human. I don't want to sit around clicking buttons on a form.
And so,
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Chef.
and so taking that, you could also say that if you are able to keep this kind of knowledge base inside of the kitchen and having your less skilled workforce using it, then as the chef that's also programming the ovens and having all of the electronics communicating with each other, you can also override so they cannot make these mistakes. So then this
Absolutely.
technology is also available.
Absolutely true.
So this frees up the other chefs to be able to go to the wet market with Chirstophe.
Yeah. No, and I think to go back on, yeah, sorry.
Oh, good
No,
question.
I think no,
Okay,
no. I think
so
maybe you have to rephrase that.
The question was, will they always be less skilled because they never had to learn it?
No, I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
certain skills or certain tasks, let's put it this way, which are not meaningful, correct? Like what Charlotte meant is clicking all these buttons to come up with a form, and I think a chatbot can do it for you. You know, you just have to speak to the machine, and the machine will do the job for you. I think we have to think about what's the next journey of skill acquisition as a chef, and where we should be spending more time on becoming better technicians, better understanders about the skill, the knowledge, rather to spend time in tasks which are not meaningful and a machine can do for us very easily. And therefore we can spend time upskilling elsewhere. Does that make sense?
I think.
So I think that is the profound progress with technology, okay? But when we say lesser skilled, I mean, we all have been lesser skilled at one stage in our career, correct? I mean, we all were an apprentice at one stage, correct? But I think today that journey of learning acquisition, it's going to speed up. It has to speed up, and it will.
Yeah.
There's no choice.
But it's true because people will be reliant on the technology.
Sure,
The
sure.
generation after us is definitely going to be differently skilled. They're not going to be as hands-on.
And there is a profound change happening already. The newer generation, they do things very differently.
Yeah.
And trust me, they will achieve. They will not fail. For a simple reason, nobody wakes up in the morning to spend a lot of time to fail. Any of you? Any of you goes into the kitchen in the morning to work very hard to fail? No, correct?
Nobody in this room.
And
They will just do it differently, and they will maximize technology, and they will maximize digitalization. And when Charlotte will come into the picture with interface of AI where they're going to scream at the oven, it's going to be a different kitchen altogether, okay?
yeah, but I think is a very valid question. What you ask. What's the future of? I take your question as inspire me. Let's say another question. What will be, which is another deserve another 30 minutes, even hour of discussion. The relation between technology and humans. Yeah, we have lunch now. Yeah, but the relation which is the human and technology, because if what is doing technology, what is doing you. And I agree with Chirstophe when you say, yeah, the future probably is a different. People will do different things. I agree. And will probably, let me be positive in this way, maybe too much optimistic, but I think humans will become even more humans because of the machine and the technology. Let me explain that. Because then, as you said, actually, you can free up your mind with something not necessarily interesting, like checking things or measuring data, because that can be done by a machine. And humans can do better probably. Oh yeah, I'm ending the time.
We're getting on the countdown. I just wanted to, we're going to have to do like a summation. So I let you continue.
Yeah, okay, very quickly because we have only 45 seconds. I wanted to give you, okay, I have no time for what I wanted to give you, but an opinion what can be the future, because of course this is part of my role in electric professional, also thinking about the future of the kitchen, what can be in, now we don't think about 20 years, now you can think about 5 years if you're lucky. So what can be the future? Just to tell you, okay, I cannot tell you all the secret we're doing, but 20 seconds for you. But you want to start first?
No,
please, no, do it.
I don't want to stand between them and lunch, okay?
Okay. Okay, nobody wants to stand in between
Okay.
anybody in lunch in this room. But I think this is important to do the summation of what can we see in the future. This was about the future. So Michele, you still have your moment.
Okay.
Continue on with it.
Okay, the future, as I said, will be a scattered picture, meaning in some situations we will have the maximum of technology, robotics, automation. In some other situations, because not needed, we will have less technology. This is my what we are doing in electric professional is working with voice control. For example, we are trying to use voice control in some situations. Just to mention other technology, image recognition will be another technology, I believe, more and more present in the kitchen, the capability to see the food, analyze the quality by the picture, but not only the food, also in the dishwasher, for example, to understand how the item you're putting in the dishwasher automatically. So image recognition, voice control, artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation for sure. We're doing automation in some functionalities in the kitchen, not in all. Because there are, you can see in Google, there are fully automatic kitchen. We don't believe that that will be the future necessarily, but we do believe that some of the activities, some of the function in the kitchen will be automatized. For example, the frying, for example, the dishwasher area, some of the activities that require too much time or where you don't give the value, humans don't give the value, will be automatized. That's my prediction for the future.
Okay, thank you, Michele. Chirstophe.
I'll keep it short,
Future.
okay? I'll keep it short. I think that the digital revolution has started already. The train has left the station. I think same for the technology. We have no real choice to be adopted or not, how we're going to introduce it to our operations. It's going to must have to be. It's not a question of choice. And it's a question of all the various leaders in this room to go back and think, how can I do it in the most efficient, productive, and meaningful way for my operation? That's what this is all about.
Thank you, Chirstophe. Now, Charlotte.
Well, for me, I think the new technology, generative AI, is going to make a lot of chefs, especially the experienced ones, a lot happier. Because not only is their workforce being skilled up, it's a question that you ask, but with multimodal vision, right? You can use Gen AI to say, hey, what am I looking at? You know, what is this ingredient? How can I improve it? And you can experience the joy of what brought you into cooking in the first place, what brought you into this profession in the first place, and leave the Gen AI to upskill your workers so they can be a better help for you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. So now, just before you all leave the room, because Charlotte is an expert in AI and technology, she has so graciously said that she's going to stick around for another while. If anyone wants to go and approach her and speak to her about any of the pain points that they have, please do so. She loves chefs, even though she does not work in kitchens herself, but she would be happy to help and to share any ideas with all of you. Thank you all so much. And I know you're off to
Thank you,
a
Angela.
lunch break. Yes.
Thank you. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Angela May, our moderator, Michele Cadamuro, Chirstophe Megel, and the lovely Charlotte Ong, who is here in reality. She is not
A bot.
You are not the bot. Not just yet. Alan Hosted's got a little gift for you. If you can just stand in front of the table for me. In front of the table. We don't want to.
Okay.
No free advertising for Voss water. Not yet, anyway. Before we break for lunch, ladies and gentlemen, lunch is in not where you had your coffee break, but in the next room across. But when we exit here, we go left, down to the little archway. And don't forget your coupon for lunch, please, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget coupon for lunch. Do not forget coupon for dinner. And we'll be back here on time at 13:40. So a good hour and 10 minutes to network, chat,
Thank you.
stretch your legs. Another round of applause for our last panel before
you.
lunch. Well done.
Thank
Bravo,
you.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alan Hosted, from our Continental Director from Europe. See, digital work in progress from Mr. Chirstophe. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
ladies and gentlemen. Lunch is served. I hope.